All right, so circles. We talked about circles. They're really the easiest of the conic sections to understand and go after. And I'll explain next section why we call them conic sections. Notice the word cone is in conic. So we'll talk about that. And it's kind of exciting with this new distance remote learning thing that we're doing. I can easily give you some visuals to take a look at, and maybe that'll help you out. So circles. Circles, the brief review of circles. This came from 10.3. And we talked about a circle being described by its center and its radius. And so when you put a circle on a coordinate plane, the center is described by the coordinates hk, and the radius will hit somewhere at a point x, y. So the equation of the circle is, you can kind of think of it as a Pythagorean relationship. It is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, and r represents the radius. So that's pretty simple, I think. So if we talk about writing an equation, let's say that the equation has the diameter. A diameter has endpoints, and the endpoints are 7, 6, and -1, -8. So this is the example I gave in class. This is the diameter, so we need to find the radius, which means, and we also need to find the center. So in between the two, if we look at our circle, in between the endpoints, let's say we've got there and there, the halfway mark is going to be the center, the hk. So if we find the midpoint, that gives us the center. So remember, midpoint is the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So 7 minus 1 divided by 2, and 6 minus 8 divided by 2. So our midpoint is that'll be 6 divided by 2 is 3, and -2 divided by 2, -1. So those are our h and our k values. We need an r, we need to find our radius. So that tells me we've got to find a distance from the center to one of the sides. Pick your favorite side, it doesn't make any difference. I'll probably deal with the positive one just so that I can avoid some possible mistakes with negatives, but it's totally up to you. You'll get the same answer, right? Because radii are the same. Remember the formula, or pardon me, the definition of a radius. So the distance, here we go. We've got 3 minus 7 quantity squared plus -1 minus 6 quantity squared. So that gives us a radius of, that'll be -4 squared is 16, plus -7 squared is 49. And so we've got a radius, let's see, that'll be 65, square root of 65 will give us our radius. So when we write the form, this is r, and so when we write out the general form of a circle, we've got, here's our h, this is our h, this is our k, so x minus x. Just kidding. This is handy, I have to say, this whiteboard, really nice. X minus 3 quantity squared plus y minus a -1, there's your k, equals r squared. Well, r is the square root of 65, so r squared is just 65. Oh, I forgot to square that one. There we go. So there is your circle. All right. So we also need to do a problem where you have to find the center of the circle. And give me 1 second. I have to get a rag to erase. Okay, back at it. So we're going to do a little algebra 1 on this guy. So we have to find the radius of the circle. And our circle is x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 12y minus 12 equals 0. All right, not in the HK form that we would like, so we're going to have to put it in that form. That tells me we're going to need to complete the square a couple times. So pull together, use your commutative property, and put together the x variables and the y variables. So we've got x squared minus 8x, and then we've got y squared plus 12y, and then the constant, let's move him to the other side. Okay, so let's complete the square here. Remember, this will become your middle term of your trinomial. Divide the coefficient in half, and so that's a -4 squared is 16. But remember, whatever you do to one side, we need to do to the other side to keep our equation still an equal equation, not an inequality. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Move my equal sign over just a hair. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, so plus 36 plus 36. All right, completing the square, we've got x minus 4 quantity squared plus y plus 6 quantity squared equals 12 plus 16 plus 36 is a beautiful 64. I like it because it's a perfect square. So the center is located at HK. H is 4, K is -6. And our radius, let's just for kicks talk about the radius. The radius is going to be 8. So there you are. Circles, enjoy.